welcome back to Grooving and Giving in Early Retirement. I'm Radhika. In this video, I am showcasing the Jujuy province in northern Argentina. So the Jujuy province is one of a dozen must-see destinations in Argentina, and it is not even the number 1, number 2, or even number 3 ranked. That's how much there is to do in Argentina. And that honor, by the way, goes to Buenos Aires, Iguazu Falls, and northern and southern Patagonia. I would absolutely go back to southern Patagonia. It was so incredibly beautiful. And I would go back to southern Patagonia in Argentina. But check out my video, the showdown in southern Patagonia, Chile versus Argentina. From El Chaltán and Fitzroy to El Calafate and Perito Moreno Glacier, and then Ushuaia, the city at the end of the world, and Tierra del Fuego National Park. It's just so rich. Now we were in Ushuaia because we were also doing an expedition cruise to Antarctica. So we were in Ushuaia for several days because of that. Oh, by the way, side note, if you do plan to go to Antarctica and you do have flexibility in your schedule, there's a backdoor way of doing this. And I have my video on Antarctica that you should check out. Definitely something to consider if, like I said, you have flexibility in your schedule. It can make a really big difference to the price tag. Please like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Ding, ding, ding. You know the drill. Okay, one other side note. We were in these parts of the world. We were traveling for 110 days, and we started our travels, obviously in Buenos Aires, in Argentina, but then we went straight down to southern Patagonia, and then we zigzagged our way up the continent so that we wouldn't get stuck in winter. And so by the time we got to the Jujuy province, we had already been traveling for almost 3 months, and we were there because of work. My husband is a professional photographer, and travel and wildlife are two big areas that he focuses on with his business. And honestly, after the pandemic, his business definitely took a hit. And so he was retooling, rejiggering, reassessing, rebuilding his portfolio. And he realized that the southern part of the hemisphere is something he didn't have in his portfolio. So we were there for work. My pictures were taken with a old Samsung phone, whereas his pictures are obviously professional. So check out his channel. He's got several videos on South America and videos on Iguazu Falls and this area. So check out his videos. And of course, if you need photography services or you want to buy any of his pictures, they are for sale. So check that out. We came into Salta from San Pedro de Atacama in Chile, northern Chile. Also another absolutely must-see destination. I have 2 videos on that. Check those out. San Pedro de Atacama is definitely a must-see in Chile. We got to Salta by bus from San Pedro de Atacama. If you're happening to do that, please do not sleep on the bus. So the bus leaves at 7 a.m. from San Pedro de Atacama. Takes about 12 hours with the border crossings. And the scenery is absolutely spectacular. All the pictures that I'm showing were taken right out of the bus window with my phone camera. And the landscape changes, and it is absolutely stunning. The road, so this is Route 52, so windy. And in fact, when we talked about Salina Grande, this is the road that you'll be on. But absolutely spectacular scenery, from the mountains to the hills to the roads to then the desert looking landscape. It is stunning scenery. We sat on the right side of the bus, and a couple of times I was like, oh, we should have been on the left side of the bus. But honestly, as you are going down the winding Route 52, you will have scenery on both sides. So don't go to sleep. Check out the scenery. Salta, they're definitely, Salta has enough things for you to see. Walking around, when you go down to Plaza 9 Julio, it's really nice. On that plaza is the Cathedral Basilica of Salta. This is a pink church. I love it when the churches are not like your traditional looking church. It's a pink church. And this church houses the statue of Virgin Mary and Cristo del Milagro, which were washed ashore when the Spanish ship that was carrying them sunk. I've seen so many churches, I don't remember them, but this church I remember. Why? The floor. It's got this three-dimensionality going on with the squares. It's a little bonkers to be. So you want to get down low and shoot the pictures low so you can get that three-dimensionality of the floor in this church. It's really, that's really cool, I think. The other church is the Basilica and Convent of San Francisco. This is an orange and white church, and the tower next to the church is just really beautiful. It's got these beautiful white columns, really pretty, and I think it's one of the really famous landmarks of Salta. There are other things to do. There's
The Museum of High Altitude Archaeology, ma'am.
There's the Teleferico, and you can do a lot of day trips. So you can make Salta sort of like your base, so you can go do these day trips that you want. You can also do the train to the clouds, but it is more involved, and it is there's a lot more to it. We didn't do it. You can also go south to Cafayate and do the Cuesta del Obispo. We also didn't do that. So there are definitely things to see and do in and around the Salta area. We rented a car for 2 days. It's just a regular car, nothing special, not a 4x4 or anything. And we headed on the first day after we rented the car, we headed up north to Route 9 towards Purmamarca, and then we headed west on Route 52 to go to see the Salina Grande salt flat. So this is the way we came from Chile. We were headed back the same way. The drive is absolutely breathtaking. You will find that you are stopping enough times to take photographs and get there slowly. And it is, the road, like I already said, is so windy. So you can't go fast anyway. And you are just enjoy the scenery. That's because it's that fantastic. Now, when you get to the Salinas Grande, there's a parking lot. And there are some eateries and some shops, and you can spend a little bit of time there. There's a lady there baking bread on a grill. It's kind of like a quesadilla, so we definitely partook. And from that same parking lot, there are tours run by the local indigenous people in that area, in that province. Now, the tour itself, it really isn't anything. What it is you follow somebody on a motorcycle. So they're on a motorcycle, you're in your car, and all the cars just follow the motorcycle because they take you farther into the salt flats, closer to the sign that says Salinas. So if you want to do that, you can do that. But from a tour perspective, there's really nothing else they're sharing with you. And the way we thought about it is like we're supporting the local tourism industry. If you didn't want to do the tour, you can go farther from the parking lot. So as you head out, you continue towards Chile on Route 52, so left out of the parking lot. And there are places that you can park and stop and take photographs. We lingered. We took a lot of photos. We spent a lot of time there. And then we slowly, at the end of the day, we left the Salinas Grande around 4 p.m. But linger as long as you possibly can because it is quite marvelous. Now, the Salinas Grande, it's like 212 kilometers. They are not as big as the salt flats in Uyuni, Bolivia, which is where I'm headed in a couple of months. So I'll have a good perspective. And it's at a high elevation. It's over 3,000 meters. So over 11,000 feet. So make sure that, you're taking care of yourself. And we made our way back to Purmamarca, where we were staying for the night. If you Googled leaving Salinas Grande salt flats to Purmamarca, Google Maps, I think, says 1 hour and 20 minutes. We took 2.5 hours. We took our own sweet time heading back to Purmamarca because we stopped, we took photos, there's scenery to admire. Don't rush, smell the roses, like that's the point. But if you're renting a car and doing this on your own, don't be in a rush. This is absolutely not the place to rush. Take your time. We spent a bit of time in the town square. The town square is vibrant. The clothing that's on sale, the colors, it's absolutely enchanting. Day 2, we headed to Serranía de Hornocal, Mirador Bajo del Cerro de los 14 Colores, the mountain of 14 colors. Colorful mountain range, 25 kilometers from the town of Humahuaca. So from Purmamarca, you head north on Route 9, and then you head on, I believe, Route 73 towards the mountain range. The road is bumpy and dusty. It's a dirt road, but when you get there, it is all worth all of it. What is so incredible about this place, it's the shape of how the erosion has occurred in the mountain range. It's at this triangular angle. It is angled, it is parallel, so you get all these different colors layering into the mountain. It is breathtaking and it is spectacular, absolutely spectacular. You get the best views, and from the viewpoint, which is, by the way, just a parking lot. When you get up there will be like a gate. It's called Garita de Ingreso al Mirador del Hornocal. So you get through there and you get to the parking lot. There's a flag of Argentina and there's some shops to buy souvenirs and a little bit of eateries and things like that. And that's your first viewpoint. Now, breathtaking. There's a little trail from the parking lot going down to the second viewpoint, and you absolutely also want to do that. Linger, sit, admire. You are, by the way, at this point at I believe 4,350 meters. So that's about 14,000 feet. You're going to feel it. There's going to be some shortness of breath. In fact, I have a sign saying if you're not, like, take it easy, basically. When you're coming back up from this trail, it's not a long trail, but when you're coming back up, you'll definitely have shortness of breath because it is steep. And, when we were doing Kilimanjaro, the whole mantra was pole pole, slowly, slowly. When we trekked to Everest Base Camp, the mantra was bistare, bistare, which is, again, slowly, slowly. So just go slow, make sure you don't feel nauseous and things like that. We lingered, John took a lot of photographs. I sat, I waited, I reflected, I admired, I gawked. My mind was blown that, this is nature in its finest. Incredible experience, and experience it in that way. On the way down, definitely go slow, stop and take pictures of the cactus, the tall cactus, the cardonas. Enjoy this journey. After we were done here, we headed back to the town of Humahuaca and then headed back to Salta, making stops along the way. One of those stops is where you can stop and pet llamas. Boy, they're stinky. It's a cafe, restrooms, things like that, but you can also pet the llamas. So definitely stop. But other than that, I think this area is absolutely spectacular, and this definitely would go back to. So we went back to Salta, and then we got ready for our next destination, Iguazu Falls. See you on the next video. Thanks for watching. I'm Radhika. I am grooving and giving in early retirement. I left my 23-year-long career to pursue my passions. One of them is traveling. The other one is my not-for-profit that I started called A Childhood for Children that provides essential items to children in impoverished and underserved communities. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, I'll tell you this. I am celebrating my 5th early retirement anniversary, and it has been just absolutely a fantastic journey. Thanks so much for your time. See you on the next video. Adios.